What was your paranormal experience? When I was in high school, my friend called me at 2 a.m. Knowing what an insomniac I was, he assumed I'd be the only one awake when we had to be at school in 5 hours. He told me that he and his dad had gotten into an argument earlier before he went to bed. He said his dad always comes to comfort him in his room after they have big fights. So when he woke up in the middle of the night and saw the outline of a man sitting on the edge of his bed, he assumed it was his dad that felt bad for yelling earlier. He said dad, but the shadow didn't move. He yelled dad. And again, there was no movement. So he shook his feet at the end of the bed to move him or to at least hit him with the blanket to get his attention. When the blanket went all the way up, he was worried because that meant there was nothing on the bed. And then he was terrified because the shadow man wasn't there anymore. I figured he was just half asleep and seeing things. I think we've all had that feeling waking up. But he was so scared he left his house and was sitting outside on his porch. He lived in a neighborhood not far from my house, so I said I'd drive over and we'd smoke some weed about it. When I got there, he was visibly shaken, but I got him to calm down eventually and convince him he was seeing things. We smoked a couple blunts and he went inside. While I was leaving, I dropped my lighter and it fell behind me. When I turned around, in the top right window of his house, his room, I saw a man. I thought maybe it was his dad hearing us smoke downstairs, but when I looked closer, it wasn't his dad. Then I thought, oh my god, maybe there's a stranger in their house, and I was freaking out a little bit. But then the man turned to his right, moving more to the center of the window and completely disappeared in front of my eyes. I never told anyone including him because, the only person who would believe me would be him and that would only scare him more. People will just say, oh, you were high, why would we believe that? I had a pretty high tolerance in high school and anyone who has smoked weed knows it's not gonna make you see a man in a window for over 15 seconds.